Hey everyone, I'm Nick in the States, and today we're going to talk about this bad boy. This is an AXL USA Bel Air. The body and neck of this are actually made in China. But what AXL's done, actually you may know because of the Badwater series, which is another entry level, and then the USA series, which is really their upmarket, like this, where the body is made in China, shipped to the US, I believe, where it's appointed with full USA top-notch sort of electronics and things, such as a USA Bigsby B5 Horseshoe Bigsby, a Tone Pros locking bridge, a USA TV Jones pickup, which is kind of fantastic. I believe these are Kluson Deluxe tuners, and overall a really good top-notch setup, CTS pots and spread caps in the back. It's also coil tappable, which gives you a lot of little capabilities from a single pickup Les Paul Jr. style guitar. And that's really what this is. This is their take on a Junior by way of, I guess, Gretsch, when you think about it. And so it's a lot of fun. I got this at actually a great deal. These are about $750 new. I got this used for under $4 with a hardshell case, which was a steal. I had to stock them, though, for a year and a half, about a year. Someone on the AGF, the aguitarforums.com, had bought one in baby blue, which really is the choice color. It's also offered in orange. And this is a black with actually some, you can see it in the cam, it has some metallic flake to it, which is really kind of sweet. So from a fit and finish and quality perspective, when you look at it, there are a few things. I'll try and get some pictures that I'll mix in here. Like the way the binding is taped off and where that ends and how you can see that sort of stuff. Likewise, if you catch it in just the right angle, you can kind of see that there is at least multiple pieces of wood making it up, and you can just kind of see just the essence of where one piece meets the other one. And anyone that's, especially on a flat top guitar in black, that's probably the hardest thing to get perfect. With that said, though, it's not terribly heavy at all. Actually, this is probably one of the lighter guitars I have. Especially with a Bigsby, but that's kind of nice because it makes it very playable. And I'll look up, I can't remember if it's a Corian nut or not. But what's interesting about this is it's in the same price range as a Gibson Les Paul Jr. With that said, Gibson, aside from 2015, doesn't offer kind of a gloss, really pretty Junior setup like this outside their custom shop range. Every few years they'll do one up. So at $750, it's interesting, but from a parts perspective, you've got a $150 pickup, you've got a $75 roller bridge, or more, maybe closer to $100. You've got a $150 Bigsby here. You've got, $40, $50 Kluson Deluxe tuners, which I think these are breathed on by Tone Pros. And then a really good wiring harness, which is probably $30 or so, $40, something like that. So just in raw parts, you kind of see why you get to that price range if you're trying to make a little money on the deal. So, anywho, how does she play? Well, for rock type stuff, she's actually got a lot of really great tones. Single bridge pickup guitars, there are some tricks, right? Like this, you'd think this is a very limiting guitar. So you've got that. You want to get real slinky though. I will do my best impersonation of a fast little country thing. So that's how it gets kind of slinky-ish. If I tap it back in though, one of the keys with giving this like a neck kind of tone, step out of that, come in here, I'm going to roll back the volume a little bit, but I'm also going to take the tone and roll it almost about halfway. By rolling off some of the volume, a little bit of volume, and then taking off the tone quite a bit, like 30%, 40% off, you can get... and then you can get a little filthy with it. So overall, I'm really impressed with this. I think I'm not usually a guy who buys guitars new anyway, so take this as it will. But for the full boat, $750, it seems like a bit of money, but it's definitely explainable by the quality of things here. I am going to be doing a comparison video with this and a 2015 Les Paul Jr., just to kind of get a feel back and forth, weight, tones, things like that. I think in the used price range, they tend to both swim in about that same $400, $500, $600 range in that space, and that's really what this is trying to be, although it kind of went in a different direction with the TV Jones Joy. And the coil tapping actually adds a nice little thing. Additional little details: 24 3/4 inch scale. It's a slim, fast playing neck, so it's not a big chunky one like you get in a lot of juniors. If you got smaller hands, this probably is going to play quite nice with you. The action as this one has, I did get it used, but barely used. Seems like someone very briefly had it and then decided to go in a different direction. So the action, I mean, all the way up is... Final thoughts, I dig this thing. I think I don't have anything really Gretschy in the collection other than I have a Harley Benton Big Tone, which should have a video coming up soon. The TV Jones pickup's cool because it plays like twangy fun, but it's still a humbucking pickup with reasonably good output, which means that... going to be able to do some dive bombs on this. It's a Bigsby. But in my experience so far, it stayed in tune very well. I've had this for a month and a half now, something like that. Stays in tune very, very well, especially for a Bigsby-equipped guitar. It feels like quality. It's one of the regular rotation of about 5 or 6 guitars that I play on an almost daily basis. And that says something. It says, I dig it. It's cool. One last thing. Anytime you're dealing with an interpretation of a Les Paul, it's a good idea to have it next to... It's a good idea to knock over your guitar stand, first of all. But it's a good idea to have it next to a legit Les Paul, or at least a legit Les Paul shape, to see some of the changes they took. So as you can see, it's got kind of a lazier cutaway, kind of this many different, inspired by Les Paul single cutaways, have a rounded top shoulder. It does have a cool rounded cutaway. It's also double bound, which is neat. A little access cavity in the back. So you do get nice access up and in. And from an overall body size, it's just a little bit shorter than a Les Paul. But it doesn't look like girly short. Some guitars, when they make them smaller, they change proportions, start to look a little dinky in comparison. But this is actually a very interesting take on it. This is not a Gibson Les Paul in this hand. In fact, it is a Greco Les Paul from 1977, one of the first waves of what would become known as the lawsuit guitars from Japan. Stay tuned. We'll have an interesting little video on this at some point in the very near future. I can't put this down over there, though, because I knocked down the stand. So I'll put it over here. So anyway, final thoughts. AXL USA Bel Air. Cool guitar. Neat. I think if what you're looking for is something with top-notch components without having to pay $1,500 or $2,000 and rock out that single pickup TV Jones Bigsby sort of vibe, I don't think you're going to be disappointed with this at all. It's a really cool guitar. Very happy to get it. And it'll be sticking around for quite some time. Check out the rest of the line. They also have like a Strat-inspired one, and they've got a 2-pickup version of this, and a couple different combinations of either Duncan pickups or Fralins or whatever. Go check them out. Hoping after they see this, maybe they'll share some of their goodness with us and we can do some fun stuff with them. We'll see. Stay tuned. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Nick in the States. Obviously, I've got issues. Stay tuned. Plenty more stuff to come. Thanks.